Y'all, I went on vacation. The Walking Dead came out and ruined everyone's will to live. I went on another vacation. 2v8 came out swinging with disconnecting servers. Then guess what? I went on another vacation. The Sinister Grace PTB was so diabolical, it made killer mains with 10k hours almost quit on the spot. But anyway, I'm glad to be back, baby. With behavior focusing more on preserving the health of this game mode, I wanted to do a temp check on how things were progressing. But you see, I ran into a few issues for this video. Not only was I away on vacation for the first and third week of 2v8, but my duo didn't have any stable internet to keep recording data for me while I was away. So I had to call in for some help from some lovely people. I want to give some special thanks to Jsauce, Magic Xanadu, Nod to Get Booped, SeeNog, Sir Noperope, SkeletalWither, and Zoo0443. Without you guys, this video would not have been possible. And no, literally, I think I got 50 games at most. Anyway, with 222 games under our belt, it's time to see if this 2v8 passed their midterm. For the 5th iteration of 2v8, no new killers were added to the roster. 3 new maps were added to the rotation: Treatment Theater at Lyres Memorial Institute, the Shattered Square in the Decimated Borgo, and Greenville Square in Withered Isle. Behavior implemented a feature called Play While You Wait, allowing killer players to join Survivor games until it was their turn in queue to play as killer. Several changes were made to the Legion's Power, Feral Frenzy, and the Guide, Escapist, and Shadow classes. Fog crystals were removed and replaced with a new Survivor item, Fog Vials. Players could earn 2 avatars and a charm themed after the new Party Hard collection by completed quests. Legion was the top picked character at 69 out of 222 games, with Mastermind at 48 games and Huntress at 47 games. The least picked killers were the Nurse and the Hillbilly at 17 games. For this iteration, behavior changed several parts of the Legion's power, reduced the amount of hits needed to down a survivor, reduced the amount of time Legion could be in Feral Frenzy, reduced the amount of Killer Instinct targets shown on screen while in Feral Frenzy, and removed Susie's Mixtape Terror Radius bonus. These changes were made to decrease the amount of mending and healing Survivor players would need to do, as well as give less visual stimuli on screen for Legion players to deal with. It seems that even with these changes, Legion was extremely popular. Legion is easy to pick up as a killer, and they have high mobility. They're quick to get hits, which is perfect for their duo to swoop in and finish off injured survivors. The Mastermind was also a hot pick, likely due to how easy his power is to use, his high mobility, and his Ouroboros infection. Huntress sits next to Mastermind as a top pick since she is a free killer, has a straightforward power, can make loops dangerous, and can help their killer duo even from a distance. Nurse was one of the least picked killers, likely due to her power's learning curve. Meanwhile, Hillbilly also has a learning curve, but not the privilege of bypassing obstacles like Nurse can. The plethora of pallets and random objects in 2v8 makes him a less desirable pick compared to other one-shot killers. Given that the newest part of 2v8 were the 3 additional maps, it makes sense that all 3 had the highest occurrence ratings, besides Mother's Dwelling, the only other map to reach 20 or more occurrences. The Treatment Theater at Lyres Memorial Institute would be the second indoor map added to 2v8. While I liked how the map gave new challenges and scenery, there were several repetitive rooms, making it difficult to remember where gate and generator locations were. Tight hallways and narrow doorways could cause traffic jams, or make it hard for projectile killers to work around walls. Even with the repetitive rooms, the large number of pallets and vaults into other vaults makes this map stronger for the survivor side. As for the Shattered Square on the Decimated Borgo, it was fine. Nothing too noteworthy about the map besides the fact that I am grateful that green-red color palette is gone. Think about how much more confusing the map would be if they kept the original color palette. Ugh. The only nitpick that I have is that there are these random building frames that provide no function for any player. They're just like useless aesthetic props. So I'd rather them have at least added a window or some sort of unique loop to integrate them better into the map. Finally, Greenville Square. Wait, I can't see anything. No, like literally, why did all the nerfed fog vial mist get placed here? Okay, anyway. Another map that's just fine. I wish they experimented with putting gens in the parking lot or making a unique tile for this map, but since this map originated the double tile loop, I guess I can't ask too much of it. I think the atmosphere and coloring of the map is beautiful, but that fog needs to be removed. The most picked class for survivors was Escapist, while Guide remains as the least picked class since the Resident Evil iteration. What most likely made Escapist the top pick were the buffs it received. Players can now manually use the sprint burst ability. Before, it would go off whenever they started to run while not affected by the exhaustion status. This change gave players more control during chases or when trying to help teammates escape dangerous situations. I like this change a lot, of course. I'm a survivor main, why wouldn't I? I was able to use it more conservatively instead of worrying that every time I ran, the little bit of distance I would gain would just be made up in a second. Sprint Burst in 1v4 involves a different approach to chase that may not always be compatible with 2v8. So I say that behavior did succeed in preventing unintentional exhaustion by making it a button press instead of just automatically whenever you are not exhausted. And since this choice benefits teammates as well, it's no wonder that the self-sustaining chase role was the most selected for 2v8. However, Escapist wasn't the only class that received changes. No longer was the Guide class designed to give free generator progress. Instead, completing generator progress would reward the player with Blast Mine and Wiretap. In addition, Guide users got Wake Up to open gates faster. Behavior made these changes because, after feedback, they wanted there to be more killer interaction for Guide class users. The lure of Dead by Daylight is the thrill of the chase, not sitting and doing skill checks the whole time. So the change rewards those who are gen jockeys by giving them aura reading and by having the killer get stunned when they kick a generator that's been blast mined. However, in my questionnaire, most people were already planning to play Survivor or felt that the class changes weren't enough to make them want to play Survivor. Even as an avid blast mine user in 1v4, I didn't find that the change was as rewarding because there's just so much going on already during the game that you're not even going to notice when you've stunned the killer, which is what makes it so much more funny in 1v4, just watching them kick a gen and be like, hee I did that. And when I asked killer players how they felt about Blast Mine, well, one word came to mind. I cannot describe to you how funny it is to read over questionnaire answers and to know that these people do not collaborate with each other to give me these answers. It's just so funny to see everyone say the same exact thing, basically. So, I'm glad that they're not saying it's trash or it's rage-inducing or game-quitting, but I do think we need to reconsider how often survivors can put a blast mine on a generator or how long the blast mine lasts on a generator, just to make it a little bit easier for killers. Wiretap did help give more information to teammates though, especially since scouts weren't always in chase revealing the killer's auras. Not being able to place the wiretap was a bit of a downside, but then again, this is meant to be an arcade mode, not a strategy-heavy based game mode. Wake Up was also a nice touch, but it feels more like an escapist or a scout type of perk rather than guide. Sure, doing gens leads to powered gates, but it still feels like a random choice. And of course, for continuity's sake, here's the chart showing the class selection distribution. Once again, we're still seeing players trying to balance the team out by having at least 1 or 2 players per category. As for killer classes, the top pick was Fearmonger, while last place was Shadow. Fearmonger was likely the most selected class because it rewards killers for injuring survivors by giving them haste, and they didn't have to go out of their way to get aura rating. Enforcer was also a top pick, since simply chasing an injured survivor would give the killer haste. You would also get aura reading and give an increased lunge attack to your partner after downing a marked survivor. Since killers often kick gens, having aura reading every time one was kicked would help you find your next target. With Shadow and earlier iterations of 2v8, it would give you the undetectable status if you were within 32 meters of your killer partner. If you injured a survivor, this undetectable status would transfer to the partner. Instead, the class would now grant the undetectable status when you would send any survivor to a cage. You gain the haste status if you cage a survivor near your killer partner. And seeing it in last place this time around makes sense, when the role now only makes its user undetectable and requires a bit more work to get value out of it. I assume this change was made to prevent characters like the Legion from losing killer instinct when they were using their power. While the killer side did not receive any new characters to play as, they did receive a new feature for their time playing as the killer. The Play While You Wait feature would give killer players the chance to play survivor games in 2v8 while they waited and queued to get a match. And for the most part, the feature itself worked exactly as intended. It allowed players who want to flip back and forth between sides to get more games per hour than before. While players were still getting 1 or 2 killer matches per hour, they could at least fill the wait time with 2 to 3 survivor matches. No player who wanted to swap sides had to sacrifice limited game mode time getting frustrated in the killer queue or getting bored playing only survivor matches. In my questionnaire, I asked players if the feature made 2v8 more enjoyable, to which a large portion said that they agreed with that statement. What everyone needs to understand though is that this is a band-aid fix. This is meant to reduce some of the strain that killers are currently feeling while they deal with the long queues. Behavior plans to reduce the killer queues organically versus using a distraction to make the wait bearable, especially when not every killer player wants to play Survivor in 2v8. For this section, I plan to talk about the issues that I saw the most. There's likely a chance that I might not get into specific problems that you, the audience, has dealt with. So feel free to go into the comments and write your feelings about your experience with 2v8. Being left unhooked to die. This has been slowly creeping up in my mind as more iterations come and go, and I really took notice to it last iteration, but I think because there were fewer new things in this version, it was just more obvious that mistakes were being made. It is so easy to lose track of players in these large maps with the loud sound effects and the constant aura reveals, and I'll admit, I've played this game for almost 2,000 hours, and even I forget that there are survivors on hooks at times. Other times, myself or a teammate would run to a cage, only for it to move since the killer was nearby. And while I'm glad that cages do move to prevent camping, it can be difficult to rescue teammates if they just get sent to the middle of nowhere. So even though the timer is paused for a brief time to give people a chance to run to their rescue, that doesn't always mean that it's going to be enough to prevent them from dying. So after collecting data for me, SkeletalWither and I actually had a conversation about this and came up with some potential solutions to this messy problem. But as we created solutions, we found it hard to create one reliable solution. Wither suggested that base kit kindred could work, showing survivors and killers who are within a specific distance from the cage. The issue that we found though was that there's already a massive amount of aura reveal that already happens in the game mode, making a base kit kindred add to the visual congestion. Wither and I also discussed if the HUD could show information related to how close cages are to being moved, but that could also cause visual clutter, especially when we have activity icons, mending, and killer status effects. Perhaps the cage should be moved to areas where there is a survivor in this vicinity, therefore making it less appealing for killers to chase around cages in the first place. Weak killers stay weak. As much as my stats say that Nurse and Hillbilly are the least picked killers, they're stronger than other choices on the roster. I still don't understand why Trapper and Deathslinger, for example, are quite weak and slow compared to their counterparts. 2v8 is fast-paced, and killers who need to set up their power need a little extra time to do so. This should be addressed sooner than later, especially before killers like Plague or Hag, or even Sadako if we get her in this game mode, eventually become a part of the roster. Because once they become a part of the roster, they're going to need a lot more time to start that snowball effect, and if we don't tweak killers like Trapper, who is a setup character, or Deathslinger, who takes much longer to start the ball rolling, I think we're going to see a lot more people keep leaning toward Legion and Wesker rather than experimenting with these other characters. These toys look familiar. This 2v8, we got to see buffed maps and keys, and fog crystals were replaced with fog vials, the new survivor item. But besides having fun opening chests for other people to rummage through, it didn't really make the game mode feel unique. In fact, the fog vials had been nerfed to a point where they weren't as useful as fog crystals when we're talking about smoke coverage. In my questionnaire, both sides actually preferred fog vials. Killers felt fog vials were easier to work around compared to the dense fog of the fog crystals, while survivors liked the multiple charges fog vials provided. Otherwise, as I've said in my previous video, please give survivors a 2v8 only objective, more classes, and/or a unique 2v8 item. Thank you, we're bored. Gens, and more gens. Here we are again. Yep, that's right. Third experiment, same gen completing results. But this time, I wanted to ask something different in my questionnaire. So I posed the following. As killer, does it bother you that most or all of the generators are completed by the end of the match, even if you got 5 to 8 kills, which is considered a win? And I fully expected killers to say that the gen rushing was overwhelming, demotivating, unfun, but most said, no, it's not that big of a deal. And that surprised me. I was shook. In 1v4, I know gen rushing has caused a lot of stress. It's been a talking point for months and for years in this community. But from reading over these replies, I think players have come to a point of acceptance. We know that 2v8 is meant to be fast. We're not here making carefully crafted builds and watching videos on perfect counterplay for killers and their metas. We're here to have fun, running around against 2 bloodthirsty killers or chasing a horde of unsuspecting survivors. It's not meant to be about strategy, but chaos. And all the gens being completed in a game doesn't mean that the survivors all just gotta walk out alive. There are plenty of games that started slow for killers, with gens popping left and right without a single hook, but ending with the entire team dying. And no, I'm not just talking about Wesker Legion games, I mean games with Trapper, Deathslinger, Ghostface. In fact, when I look at the ratio of escapes to deaths, this iteration saw more deaths. And some killers did feel that the guide class changes did help slow down some of the gen rushing. And I think that, as long as there's some slowdown to gen progress, it gives the killers more of a chance to feel like they gotta fight in the first place, even if they lose in the end. I still think behavior could adjust the catch-up mechanic or add a version of corrupt intervention to 2v8, but I'm hoping that my small sample size reflects more of the community's feelings on this matter. You guys know what time it is? My favorite question. Did this version of 2v8 make you excited to play future iterations? And as always, most were already planning to keep on playing. I think going based on this midterm, 2v8 is going in a positive direction, but there are some outstanding issues that should be addressed in the coming iterations. Behavior released a survey asking multiple questions about the state of the game mode. And one question that stood out to me was that how often should this game mode be in rotation question? I'm a strong believer that 2v8 should be only 2 or 3 times a year. I think the fact that we are seeing this game mode shoved in between chapter releases and holidays is causing a strain on the game's 1v4 and 2v8 queues, which a lot of other people have been talking about, especially for killers. The creativity in each iteration fluctuates, and even this time around, there is 0 promotion, besides for the play while you wait graphics. And the game mode's quality of life, especially if there's bugs, like the Wesker bug that had been around for a little too long. And by putting more time in between these iterations, we will have a higher chance of seeing a more polished product and solid solutions to ongoing problems. And I know that behavior is appealing to the community's enthusiastic desire for more 2v8, but personally, I think 2v8 should maintain a status more like Haunted by Daylight, where that occurs only once a year for a longer period of time, and less like Chaos Shuffle, which, you give it 2 weeks in between the lulls in content releases. I think to push this point home, I've watched a lot of videos on YouTube, and people have talked about how it's getting boring, it's getting stale, it's getting repetitive. And the first few iterations, you can understand why, because there's a limit on how many maps there were and how many characters there were. But when you think about it, we had an iteration in February, which was Resident Evil. Then we had the Ghostface Oni iteration late spring, right before FNAF release. And then we had another 2v8 in August, and now we're gonna get another one in November. That's 4 2v8 iterations in a year. That's too much. This is why I'm so firm of the belief that it needs to only be happening 2 or 3 times a year. So that way, if it's 2 times a year, you have 6 months in between. If it's 3 times a year, you have 4 months in between. That's still a lot of time. I mean, even 3 times a year sounds like a lot, because imagine if you even have only 2 killers per iteration. That's 6 killers in a year. I just think that a lot of people are feeling, you know, they have personal reasons why 2v8 is not serving them. There's characters that they can't play as, that they play in 1v4, or there's certain aspects of 1v4 that they prefer to 2v8. So you have to convince people who like 2v8 to come back. You can't convince someone who doesn't like 2v8 as a game mode in general to come and play. You have to find other ways to drag people who would normally play 1v4 and say, hey, try this instead. So, do I think 2v8 is doomed? No. I think it's a work in progress that just needs more time. Anyway, that's enough from me. Enjoy my montage, as always, and give me a like and a follow. Leave a comment with your thoughts. And I'll see you in the next video. I've got some fun ideas for you guys, so stay tuned.
Give me a minute!
No! No, no, no!
I'm chasing you.
No, 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 no.
Uh-oh.
Kiss.
No way. Oh.
There's no way. There's no way. Send 5 more. Send 5 more. Send 5 more. You can't do it. Send 5 more. You can't do it. Don't see
I'm
me.
pretty sure the trapper is gonna... Oh my god, you got it!
Oh no. Oh no. There's no way. Bro. Oh my god. Wait, I could get another one? Why not? Oh shit. Wait, what? What is happening? Wait. Wait. Oh, oh no, no. No, no, no. Oh! Ross, do you see this?
See what?
It's a
Wait, I
cheater.
clicked away.
Wait,
Oh my
oh
god, I
no,
clicked
it was
away
a
for a
bot.
second.
Oh no, she became a bot. That's why she was doing weird stuff and he was like hitting her. I'm like, where did she go? I thought it was a cheater. That's why I was like not paying attention to what Wesker was doing. I'm like, hello? Oh no. They're both up here! Oh my god. Come here. Dude. There is no way. Hey, come here, come here. How can I...
When Nemesis has no power.
Wait, I need to get him over here. He needs to fix this.
Nice footage for your 2v8.
Yeah. Yeah, get them, Nemi. Get them. Get him. Yeah, get her too. Yeah, get her. Yeah, kill that bitch. Try to... Here. Try it now. There we go. Oh, okay. Why am I so impatient? Oh.
What?
Hello?
Such bad ping, man.
Wait, I can juke this. Okay, let's check the ping. I'm still at 200. What is happening? Why is everyone's bad? So, cause we're all equally bad, it balances out, you know? It's not like someone's at 200 and everyone else is at 50, right? Oh, we gotta go. Oh shit, no. Hang on. There's no shot!
You get them with that thing.
Where's the... Oh, shit.
To the right. Oh.
Oh my fucking god, bro. What is happening? Ah, I got hit from space! What?